Hello friends, how's it going? My name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and I'm very excited to be starting a new romance reading vlog today. This reading vlog was very up and down, you know. I found some new favorites and I ended up with a DNF out of these 5 books, and I also got a haircut and went blonde. So there's a lot that happens in this vlog, but before we jump into it, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, which is a new sponsor on this channel because it's Bookfinity. It might come as a surprise, but oftentimes one of the biggest challenges that I face as a creator is trying to figure out what to read next. It's very easy to get lost in a stream of online book recommendations from friends or from other creators that don't take into account my personal reading taste, and that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with Bookfinity. Bookfinity is a website built for readers by readers. There is a personalized quiz that matches you with the books that align best with your specific reader type. Bookfinity believes that finding your next book shouldn't be hard. Their quiz takes time to get to know your personality, lifestyle, and reading habits to create an accurate reader type you will be excited to meet and explore. Best part is that once you have your personalized recommendations, you can track the books you like, you can share your reactions with a really unique review system that's based on mood, and you can create custom lists of books that you can share with your friends. I swear there is nothing more exciting than finding new books that have been selected just for you. Also, I think the quiz was super easy and super fun to take because it asks you things like what are some of your favorite TV shows and what genres do you love to read the most and things like that. My reader type is the serial reader, which is no surprise since I'm such a huge fan of mysteries and thrillers. I love getting the personalized mystery thriller recommendations. 2022 is the perfect time to become a more active reader, but it's also important to, enjoy the time that you're investing in reading books. That's why I'm asking my viewers to go and visit bookfinity.com today and take the reader type quiz. Let me know your reader type in the comments and share your custom TBR list link for others to discover. Sponsors like Bookfinity help me continue producing new content regularly, so please go and support them by going to bookfinity.com and taking that quiz. And thank you so much to Bookfinity for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get into the romance books, shall we? You might be wondering which 5 new-ish romance books I'm going to be reading for this video, and the first one is going to be The Romantic Agenda. This is the book I started with because I was really excited to get to this, and I had the audiobook from my library, and this romance involves an asexual main character. The next book is going to be The Roughest Draft. This is one that I was able to check out the physical book from my library, and this is one that just came out in January that I've been wanting to read for a while. Next up we have Lease on Love, which this is another romance that I just bought a couple months ago that I've been meaning to read, and I was also able to get the audiobook checked out from my library. And then we have I Kissed Shara Wheeler, which this is another book that I was able to check out from my library. I also have the audiobook from Libro, and this one is, it's the new Casey McQuiston, so of course I was eager to read it. It's the same author as Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is one of my favorites, but this one is a young adult book, whereas the other books from this author are all adult books, so I was very curious to check this one out. And then lastly, I also read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, which this is one of the Book of the Month selections for the month of May. And this one is one that I was very excited to read because I've read every single book from this author so far, and they've all been just okay for me so far, so I was very curious to see if this one would be an absolute winner for me. So yeah, those are the 5 books I read in this video. As I said, I did find a few new favorites, and one of them was a DNF, so let's cut back to about a week ago so we can just start this thing. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I decided to start this, reading vlog, reading The Romantic Agenda, because this is a romance that I am so freaking excited about because it has an asexual main character. And I started it last night and I got 112 pages in, and so far I'm really enjoying this one. In this book, we're following this woman named Joy who is asexual, and she's 30 years old, and she's in love with her best friend Malcolm. And something that I find super interesting about this story is that Malcolm is actually also asexual. They kind of identify differently though, and I kind of love how, this book shows that not every asexual person is the same, and some asexual people enjoy having sex and some don't. So I really like that there's, different representation involving asexuality. I think that's really cool. But then the story is about how, Malcolm is starting to be interested in this girl named Summer, and he wants to go on this vacation with her, and Summer has this friend named Fox that she wants to take him on the vacation too, so then Malcolm invites Joy, and then it's gonna be the four of them going on this vacation together. And it's so interesting because I feel like it's like a love triangle or like a love hexagon situation where it's like she likes him, but then he likes her, and then he likes her, and then she likes him. You know, it's like one of those things. So I'm kind of liking the dynamics in this group. And also so far the asexual representation has been pretty great. I mean, I love, like, you know, right at the beginning, Joy's talking about how it's really hard to date on social media because she's like, you know, some dating apps don't even have the option to choose asexual as a sexual orientation. She's like, you know, not to mention that she's 30, a good percentage of single people her age have kids, and no offense, but no. You know, the only real like asexual representation that I've read in a book was Loveless by Alice Oseman, and in that book the character was not only asexual but also aromantic. And so it's kind of nice to see a little bit of a different representation in this book because this character is definitely still romantic. You know, she definitely still wants a relationship, she still wants a partner, you know, she's just asexual. And so I like how, you know, she still wants romance, you know, she still wants to like hold his hand, she still wants to kiss him, she's just asexual. I also really love, you know, there's a conversation that she has at one point with one of the characters that kind of ask her like, oh, well, how can you be asexual because you always dress like in a way that's like really sexy, or you always seem like you're seeking the attention of others, you know, by the way that you dress or by the way that you talk. And, you know, she has this whole conversation where she's like, being confident in clothing doesn't have to equal sexy. And she says, being ace doesn't mean I'm a prude or modest. It means I don't experience sexual attraction. It has nothing to do with how I feel about my body, nothing to do with how I choose to express myself, nothing to do with me trying to attract a man or trick people. Get past it or don't. It's not my problem. I'm not responsible for someone else's arousal when everything I do is for myself. Freaking yes, queen. Get that. Love it. So yeah, there's already been some really great moments in this book. I'm already really relating a lot to Joy's character, which makes me happy because that's exactly what I was hoping for with this book. You know, like as someone who's asexual, I was really hoping that I would like see myself in her. And I feel like I always experience this whenever, you know, I read about a character who's asexual. I just start to relate immediately, and I love that. And I'm also a fan of the romance that's happening in this book. You know, it's cute, it's like forbidden, there's things happening. I'm not a huge fan of the friends to lovers trope, but I am a huge fan of another trope that's happening in this book. That's kind of a spoiler, I think. Hello, it has been a minute since I last updated this vlog because it's been about 24 hours. I went out to lunch yesterday with my friend, had a really great night. I've been listening to this audiobook on and off throughout the last, 24 hours. And this morning, while I was getting ready, I finished listening to The Romantic Agenda on audio. And honestly, I spent the last 2 chapters of this book, I was trying so hard not to cry because I was putting on my makeup and doing all of the stuff. And the last 2 chapters of this book just really got to me, because I was feeling throughout this entire book, I was this romance, it's really cute. It's really, I love the kind of beachy, tropical vacation vibes throughout this entire book. I really loved the friendship that, existed between Joy and Malcolm throughout this book. And I really enjoyed my time listening to this book, but I wasn't expecting the ending to hit me as hard as it did because it just got, very relatable at the end. Very, very relatable. Because, the freaking dialogue that is exchanged between Joy and Malcolm at the end of this book, holy shit, if that's not my heart on the fucking page, something that I've gone through. And it was a lot harder to read than I thought it would be. I feel like this always happens to me whenever I read, a book that follows an asexual main character. I'm it's all fun and games until I relate so hard that it nearly makes me emotional. But God, it was so good. It was so beautiful. And the ending just had me freaking in tears because I just feel the same way. And, as I've said before, whenever I read asexual characters, I'm still in this position where I'm kind of exploring my sexuality because I don't really know, if I'm being honest. The only thing I'm certain about is that I'm asexual, but I was never sure if I fell into the more aromantic side or if I do still, want romance. I just don't know. And so I feel this book also helped me clarify things a little bit within regards with that because I feel I related a little bit more to Joy's romantic feelings in this I don't know, it's hard to explain because I relate so much to, you know, George's character in Loveless, who is asexual and aromantic. But then I also did relate partially to some of the like romantic things that Joy wants in this book. So it's like, I feel like I'm somewhere in between. Like, I'm not the most romantic person that you'll ever meet. Like, I actually do consider myself mostly not that romantic, but I don't think I'm as aromantic as Georgia, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, it's so interesting getting to read about characters like this, you know, because it really does make you look at yourself and like reflect about yourself and your life and your choices and even like your romantic history. Like, it really makes you look at everything like that, you know? So I just like, oh God, this book was so good. It hurt me. I feel like, you know, if you're not asexual, I feel like this book would be, you know, maybe like the average 3 or 4 star romance. Like, it's not anything crazy different from things that you've read before, but if you are asexual, I feel like this book will probably mean a lot to you. I feel like it will probably do something for you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give this one like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like my favorite romance ever, like as far as like the chemistry went and everything, but the relatability is the reason why I'm rating this book as high as I am, just because, wow, like some of those quotes at the end got to me. Like, if I would read them out loud, but I'm not going to, because 1, it would be spoilery because it's like the last 2 chapters of the book, but also 2, because I would probably cry if I tried to read some of these lines out loud to you right now. So we're not gonna do that. But yeah, I think if you're asexual, highly recommend The Romantic Agenda. This book, oof, it hurt me, but in the best way, you know? It was so good. I feel like I really needed this right now, you know? Hey, what's up? How's it going? Long time no see. I just poured myself a quick little coffee, and this is the first coffee that I've had since my GERD flare-up. So like, we're hoping for the best here. But I've been doing a lot better with my GERD as of lately, which I'm so thankful for. So I decided to just have a little bit, just like a tad bit of iced coffee this afternoon. And I was sitting here debating which of these books I wanted to start first, because, you know, for this romance video, I have a lot of romance books that I would like to get to, but I would like to prioritize the library books that I have, because, you know, I only have these for a certain amount of time. I only get 3 weeks with these, so I want to try to get to these first so that I can return them. I was gonna like flip a coin, honestly, to see which one to start with, but I think I am gonna start with the Roughest draft, just because this one is one that I've been curious about for a while, and because I do think I should save the young adult for like a little later in the video, so that, you know, I don't know. I also feel like, I don't know, I've been hearing mixed things about this one, so now I'm all nervous. But I'm very excited for this. I also was able to check out the audiobook from my library for this, so very excited to follow along with the audiobook. And yeah, let's just go. Let's just give it a whirl.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away.
Hello, what's up? I thought I would do a quick little update because I'm about 130 pages into the Roughest draft already. Earlier today I was just like reading in bed, and then we went out and got dinner. We got this really good pizza, we brought it home, and now my friend Katie is doing reading sprints on her YouTube channel, so I've just been like, you know, participating in the chat and reading along. And this book is good so far. I feel like this is a kind of trope that I really enjoy, because in this book we have 2 writers who, you know, they were never together. At least I don't think they were ever together, but they always had this kind of like tension between them, and they wrote these books together. Now it's been 4 years and they haven't written any books together, and their agents are getting frustrated with them, especially his, because his newest book that was like a solo project isn't doing as well. And so their agents want them to get together to like write another book. And so this is the story of how they are, going to meet up in Florida at the same place where they wrote the books together originally, and they're going to be writing the next book together. I love books that follow writers, and I love, like they have this really great like chemistry, but it's also kind of like forbidden because I don't know, because he was married but then he got divorced because of reasons that I still am not totally sure about, but it feels kind of forbidden because the girl Katrina, she is engaged to this guy named Chris, but like to be honest, Chris is kind of an asshole, so like I'm just not here for that relationship at all. Like he's literally such a douchebag, so I don't know, like I'm just kind of here for this. I'm just kind of curious to see where it goes, but I do feel like I really like the tension between these characters and I like their chemistry. I'm just gonna sit here for a little bit longer, watch Katie's live sprints, and get some more of this book done.
Who do you think you are? You say you...
Hello, what's up? How's it going? It's the next day and I decided to take a drive this morning. I wanted to come down to one of my favorite bookstores that I used to live, like really close to here, but ever since I moved back in with my parents, it's kind of like a drive. It's like a 30-ish minute drive now. But I just decided to come down here. I was listening to the Roughest draft on audio while I was driving down here, and I was able to get all the way up to chapter 40. So I'm about like 200 pages in now, so I should be able to finish this no problem today. But I just wanted to come down here to check out the bookstore, and then I think I'm going to go to one of the local parks that's like right down the street from here that I really love and really miss, and just kind of like spend some time this afternoon reading. I made it to the park. I just got back from the bookstore and there was like literally nothing, which is so crazy. Like I almost never walk out of there with nothing, so I'm kind of surprised. And also it's kind of annoying because now the city is requiring you to pay for parking like all around that bookstore, like in the downtown area, when they never used to. It's like a new thing all of a sudden. So I'm like, great, love that. Love spending money on parking and then not even getting any books. Like that's cool. I think I'm just going to like walk around for a little bit and like listen to the audiobook. It is kind of cold today though. It's kind of windy too, but I might try to like just walk around, clear my head, and then if it gets too cold, I might just end up coming back in here and reading a little bit more in my car.
But all I'm hearing is a monologue. Who do you wanna be? You say you're really deep, but I can tell you don't know what that means. You can swim in shallow waters, but it's gonna get you nowhere. And I'm way too good to waste my time on boys like you. Can you speak without a filter? Can you give me something better? I bet you do. Hey baby, if you wanna get to know me, all you gotta do is take me to your heart, yeah. Hey baby, if you want me to be with you, all you gotta do is take me to your heart, yeah. Come on, give me something real, doesn't have to be ideal, just a part of you that's honest, that's all I want. Hey baby, if you wanna get to know me.
Right, hey, I'm back in the car. It's been about like an hour and a half. I've just been kind of chilling, out on the, like near the water. I was reading for a while, and then when I just got back in my car, I was reading for a while, and I'm now 91% of the way through this audiobook, so I'm like literally almost done. I'll probably finish it on the way back to the house, because I have like, a 30-minute drive, so I'll probably finish it no problem. But this book is cute, okay? It is freaking cute. It has melted my freaking heart. There are just some moments that these characters have that I'm just like, it's like the wording that they choose is just precious, and I love the fact that like they're writing this book that's kind of like about romance and about like the hardships of romance while they're dealing with like this history that they've had, it's just like, it's really, I don't know, it's just really doing something for me. And I honestly don't really understand why this book is getting such low ratings, because when I checked Goodreads, I think this book has like an average of like 3.6, which is just kind of surprising to me. Like, I don't know, it seems kind of low. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like when I pulled up to this park earlier, I was just like not feeling that great. Like I just had this headache all of a sudden, and I was thinking like, should I even like go out here, or should I just like go back home and like take out my contacts and like try to sleep or something? Because when I get a bad headache, I'm just like not in a good mood. But I just decided to like go out anyways and just go by the water water. And then I listened to Angel Baby by Troye Sivan while I was just like sitting by the water right there, and it honestly just like made my whole day. Like it made me feel so much better. Like I don't know what it is, but like something about getting the fresh air right by the water and listening to Angel Baby by Troye Sivan, that just like made my whole day. So yeah, it was a very life-changing experience. Anyways, I'm probably gonna head back to the house now. I think I'm going to try to finish listening to the Roughest draft on audio on the way back, and then maybe I'll also get coffee or get like, you know, a frap or something like that. I don't really know yet.
Get to know me, all you gotta do is take me to your heart, yeah. Could you shut up for once, relax that eager tongue, and let me tell you something about myself. I'm not the coolest one, I'm
I just do
the
one
weak, no
grande
dumb, so I don't buy this version of you have.
from
You can
Starbucks?
swim in shallow waters, but it's gonna get you nowhere.
Hello, what's up? It's the next day, and I realized that yesterday after I got home, I never updated you on my final thoughts of the Roughest draft. This book was actually so cute. Like, I enjoyed this so much more than I was expecting to, especially after seeing so many of my friends giving this one like lower ratings. I honestly don't really understand what people disliked about this book so much. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I love romances that follow writers, because I see a lot of people also comparing this to Beach Read and saying like it's not quite as good as Beach Read, but it's like similar to that. But I would actually say that this was, you know, everything that I was hoping for Beach Read to be, because I loved the angst between these two writers, like that existed throughout most of this book. Like there was just so much tension between them at all times, and I was just like really here for that. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like the most perfect romance book for me. Like there were definitely some conflicts towards the end that I wasn't the biggest fan of, and the ending was a tad cheese, like just a little cheese. But I don't know, I had a really good time reading this. I think I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I just love the concept of this book, you know, because I love that it's about like two writers who are trying to write a book together, and the way that their past comes in between them, and the way they like know each other so well that like they know what they're trying to do by like writing certain scenes. It's just so freaking cute. And like because they're both writers, I love how like well spoken they are. Like when they give each other these little like speeches and moments about like how they should be together, it's just so cute. And then last night right before bed, I got the audiobook checked out for Lease on Love, which I was excited because this is another one that I was hoping to get to in time for this video. And last night I just listened to the first 72 pages on audio, which puts me at chapter 6. Oh my god, this is so cute so far. Like, holy shit, way cuter than I was expecting. Because I feel like this one as well is getting some mixed reviews from what I'm seeing on Goodreads from friends. And so I went into this with like pretty low expectations, like not gonna lie. It's like right when this book came out, I was hearing incredible things and I was like, oh shit, so I bought it, you know? And then weeks later, I was starting to see some like really negative reviews coming in. So I was like, oh, okay, like maybe it won't be for me. So I wasn't even sure if I really wanted to read this. And then I just started it last night and I'm like loving it like so much because at the beginning we're following this woman named Sadie who, you know, she's working at this job, and right at the start of this book she's like for sure thinking she's gonna get this promotion, and then the boss is like, I'm giving it to my son who like just graduated from college and like doesn't deserve it at all. And so she's like really frustrated, so she starts like, you know, yelling and like cussing in the office and being like, I deserve this and whatever, and then they fire her from her job. So she literally gets like fired from her job right at the start. And it's so funny because she goes out to like drink with her friends and she gets on this app that she thinks is a dating app, but it's actually an app to like find new roommates. And it's so cute because her first interaction with this guy Jack is that they're out on what she thinks is a date, you know, and he's like asking her all these like questions like, okay, so what do you do for a job? And he's like taking notes and stuff, and she's like, why, like, what is up with this? Like, why are you taking notes on me? And she like mentions that she's like, this is so inappropriate for a date, and he's like, wait, a date? And he's like, that's not what this is. And oh my god, the miscommunication is just hilarious, so good, god tier. And she's like, oh shit, and whatever. And then it's about how they're gonna become roommates, and he lives in this cute little Brooklyn brownstone house, which like, love that it takes place in New York. This book is just checking all of my freaking boxes, oh my gosh. And like Jack, okay, he is the most soft adorable love interest so far, because on the back here too, it lets you know that he's still grieving the unexpected death of his parents, and he's learned to find comfort in video games and movie marathons instead of friends. So he's very much like homebody. He's very isolated from everyone, and his parents were like so freaking rich that they like left him with a lot of money, you know, so like he doesn't really have the need to get a job, and he's just kind of like by himself there. And oh my god, just from these first 5 chapters, like my heart is already melting. Like I adore them so hard. Like I am so here for this romance. Like it is so freaking cute. And this romance is like reminding me why I love reading romance. I know that's like so dramatic to say, but like every now and then, you know, you read that romance book that like reminds you why you read romance, and this is definitely one of those books. Like it's just making me so happy. So yeah, that's the update for today. This morning, it's almost noon right now. I'm planning on reading a little bit more of this right now, and then I'm actually getting my hair cut today, so this is gonna be the last of this that you'll see. That's what's happening today. I'm very excited about it, kind of nervous, but mostly excited. So yeah, I will update you with more thoughts on this later with a lot shorter and blonder of hair. Whoa!
So now you have the prospect of a new man, a good man, and a real relationship opposite in the blood line. But today's challenge brings a small surprise. Jack's forbidden charms.
Okay, ready? Whoa! I'm a new person. Oh my god, I feel so alive. Also, after I got my hair done, I've just been sitting here listening to this on audio. Like, okay, I was listening to it on audio for like an hour or so before I left to get my hair cut, and then while I was like, you know, waiting when I was getting my hair, you know, dried and dyed and stuff, I had my AirPods in, I was listening, and now I've just been sitting here in this parking lot because I'm waiting for Rachel and Obed to come and pick me up to go out to dinner with our friends, and I've just been sitting here listening to this, and now I'm 250 pages into the book. Like I literally only have a tiny bit left, and I'm just loving this so much. Like I'm literally adoring this book so hard. I love both of these characters so much. I guess I see with a lot of reviews of this book is that people are not liking it because they think the main character Sadie is annoying, but I'm honestly finding her to be so relatable and just like so cool. And you know, because of her whole situation, like getting fired from her job at the beginning, and then she's gonna be like doing her own thing, starting her own business and like working for herself, I feel like I really relate to that. I mean, I wasn't fired from my job. Like I quit my job to do, you know, working for myself full time, but I find her just like really relatable in that sense, and like trying to take on all of these things and like the anxiety that comes with like working for yourself and like having to set your own, you know, goals and stuff, and like just the whole thing. It's like very relatable for me, and I just think, oh my god, they're so cute. Like I love their little like friendship group. Like Sadie just has like the cutest friends too in this book that I adore them both so much, and like Jack is just like the softest little cinnamon roll. Like I adore him. I love how she's always calling him like Jack in the Box, or you know, Jack-o'-lantern, or just like the cutest nicknames. And I am just like trash for this couple. It's so cute. I'm hoping it doesn't like lose it at the end here, you know, because this has just made me so happy, and this is looking to be a 5-star book. I mean, look at all these freaking pink tabs. So like hoping for the best in this last little bit here, that it can be amazing. Yeah, you can like, oh, say
I saw the ending before the movie was done.
Okay, hello, I am back home from a really lovely night. I'm sorry my hair looks so crazy right now. I'm still trying to figure out like, you know, what to do with this, but I wanted to let you know that I did finish Lease on Love, and like, holy shit, I loved it so much. Like, I feel like I have to give this 5 stars just because it made me so freaking happy, you know? And like, there was something at the end that happened that I did not see coming, that I like did not predict at all. And while I can see how some people might be like annoyed at the ending and like where this book went and everything, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I don't know, I think something that I liked about this book so much is how real these characters felt to me, you know, because, you know, I hate in a romance book where we're just following like 2 characters who are just perfect, you know, and they don't learn anything. But I feel like these 2 characters, like, they definitely make some mistakes, you know, like they definitely say things to each other that they probably shouldn't, but it's like they're human beings, you know, like they're real. They just feel so real to me, and I just love the way that they were able to resolve their conflicts that they had. Like, I don't know, I just think it was so beautifully done, and I just loved both of these characters like so freaking much. Like Jack is so freaking precious, like so freaking sweet. I could honestly read about him all day. Like, he's like literally my ideal kind of male love interest in a romance like this. And then Sadie, like, I don't know, I just really loved Sadie. I found her to be so relatable. I thought her friend group was like so freaking cute, and I loved how she she, you know, took it upon herself to like start her own business. And like, I like how the author really went into, you know, all the struggles that come with like trying to start your own business and work for yourself and do your own thing. And it was just so, it was so cute. Like, it just made my heart so happy. I also just heard too, I think this author just announced another romance book that they're coming out with either later this year or next year, I think is when it's coming out. So I'm so excited. I don't know if it's gonna be like a follow-up, like follow one of the side characters from this. But this was so cute, like so much better than I was expecting. Like, holy shit, I was not expecting to give this 5 stars when I started it, but it was just that freaking cute. So amazing, 10 out of 10 experience. I think right now while I'm just laying in bed, I'm going to start a new K-drama. I think it's about time that I watch 2521. I feel like that's the mood tonight. So I'm gonna start that, and then later tonight, right before I go to bed, I might try starting I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I might try a few chapters of this. I have the audiobook for this as well. Hello, what's up? How's it going? So yesterday I didn't end up reading anything because it was ridiculous. Okay, I was watching the show 2521, and then we had some kind of random like power surge or like power outage moment where everything just went boom, like it shut off in my room, Rachel's room, everything. So I was like, fuck. And then we lost Wi-Fi, and so I couldn't finish the show. I got like almost all the way done with the first episode, and then our Wi-Fi was down after the power surge, and I realized on Libro I hadn't downloaded the audiobook to my phone yet. So I was like, god damn it, it was just a whole mess. But then this morning I did catch up on 2521, so I am on episode 3 now, and it's cute so far. I don't know if I'm connecting with it the way that I thought I would, but I'm still going to continue with it. And right now it's a Friday night, and I'm going to be doing some reading sprints over on my Patreon because, you know, I've been requested to do more reading sprints at like nighttime because I usually am the kind of person that likes to do reading sprints like during the day, and it just felt like the perfect time, you know, because Rachel and Obed just went out to dinner. My parents left on a little trip today, so the house is to myself for a little while, and I think I am going to start I Kissed Shara Wheeler, so I'm very excited for this one. Is it Shara or Shara? I don't know. I'll find out when I listen to the audiobook.
Is it true? You actually think of me as less than you. Just wish that I knew how something like that could happen. Maybe it's just in passing, 'cause nothing is everlasting, no. But like really though, how do you know that I can overcome all of the obstacles? She just looked me in the eye, said it's gonna be alright, 'cause I know that's how it goes.
Okay, so hi, it's been like an hour or two, and I've gotten 100 pages into I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I feel like I need to DNF this book. Like, I am just really not enjoying it. I mean, I'm kind of surprised, but I'm also not really surprised because I was kind of nervous over the fact that this was a young adult book, you know, and I feel like YA these days is so hit or miss for me, and this book is just reading so freaking YA. Like, I can barely even tolerate it. I feel like all these characters are so annoying, and all I knew about this book going into it is that it was going to be like a female romance, and so that's like the main reason why I wanted to read it. And, you know, obviously this author, the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, like, are you kidding me? Of course I wanted to read it. But I feel like this premise isn't even that interesting, if I'm being honest. Like, this premise, it's basically like this girl, Shara Wheeler, is like the hottest freaking girl in their school, and we follow this main girl, Chloe, who, you know, Shara kisses her one night and then completely disappears, and she leaves behind all these like clues in these letters so that they can find her. So this girl, Chloe, she teams up with like these other boys that Shara has kissed, and it's like this whole thing, like it's like this whole mission of like trying to find where Shara went and like what happened to Shara Wheeler. I don't care about the main character Chloe very much. I don't care about any of these kids at the school. I don't care about Shara Wheeler and her hotness. It's funny because this book makes a joke about how like Shara turned her life into the plot of a John Green novel, and I was like, the fact that I thought in my head that this was reading like a John Green novel, and then it said that, I was like, wow, spot on. So I don't know, I feel like I have to DNF this. Like, I'm just really not enjoying it. It's making me in a slump, and like I'm on reading sprints right now. Like, I don't want to live this way, and I'm sad about it because what the heck, like I wasn't the biggest fan of the last book this author just came out with, One Last Stop, and so I was hoping this one would be a freaking win, but no. It's just so boring, and I just don't care. I don't care about Cheryl Wheeler's hotness. I don't care what happened to her. I just don't care. So I'm setting that one aside for now. I think it's a DNF, and I'm going to jump back into Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I actually started this one on audio at the very beginning of this month. I got the audiobook checked out from the library, and I listened to like the first 30% of it, but I never did any update on it because I wasn't sure if I was going to include it in this romance reading vlog at the time. But now I'm 40% of the way through the audiobook. I'm about like 160 pages in, and I'm actually really enjoying this one a lot so far. In this book, we're following these characters named Alexis and Daniel. And Alexis is interesting because, you know, she works in the ER, and then she meets this guy named Daniel who is very young. Okay, we're talking like there's like a 10-year age gap between these two, which I love reading about big age gaps like this. I think it's so fascinating. And they're just very different, you know? I mean, as you can see from like the cover, she's definitely more like city vibes, and then he's definitely more like country vibes. And like they just are really different, you know? But I feel like they have really good chemistry. I mean, this book did do the thing that I kind of hate, where it kind of like glosses over their first couple of interactions a little bit, where it's just kind of like, oh, we had sex and now what are we gonna do? Like, it's kind of like not insta love, but like they have chemistry right away, and then it's just kind of like, okay, like now we just kind of get to see like the struggles of them trying to figure out some kind of relationship or some kind of thing together, which is fine. But I think the thing most interesting about this is definitely the characters. Like, I do like, you know, the romance that's happening between them, and I actually do think that they're both very solid and very interesting characters. So I'm definitely here for that, and I'm curious to see where it goes. I really like where we're at right now in the book. I just think it's really interesting. Also, I forgot to mention that one of her friends is named Gabby. So like, how freaking cool is that? That rarely ever happens for me in books, so that's cool. Hello. It's about 10:30 at night right now, and I am back in bed. And during reading sprints today, I was able to get up to page 220 of this book. So I have about like 150 pages left or so. So I think I'm just gonna lay here in bed tonight and try to finish this one up. And I'm so excited because I'm really enjoying this one. Like, the characters are just so freaking cute and wholesome, and you know, this one is kind of a difficult read because you know, this girl Alexis, she's kind of been through it with this really toxic and abusive relationship that she had right before she got into this one, and the way she like views herself has really suffered because of this awful relationship that she was in. And it's just so hard, you know, to see her go through certain things, and like the relationship that she has with her family also isn't great, and it's just like, it's really sad, you know, but it's also so great to see him kind of like bring out the best in her, or like remind her how incredible she is. Like, I don't know, it's just really beautiful. It's just really getting to me, so I'm really loving it. I'm hoping the ending is fantastic. I was looking on Goodreads, and I feel like this has like an average of 4.5 on Goodreads or higher, which is just crazy. Like, that's really high for a romance book. And so I'm hoping that this will be my new favorite from this author, because I've read every book from this author so far, and they've all been just okay for me. So I'm hoping that this one is going to be like my new favorite from her. Like, that would be cool.
All these years, you've been mine. It wasn't easy, but we worked it out. All those tears, ups and downs, I swear
the next morning, and last night I finished reading Part of Your World. Wow, this book totally wrecked me in a way that I was not expecting it to. And this was just beautiful, like this was stunning. I don't know if you saw the clips of me crying at the end, but this book had me crying at the end, and I wasn't really expecting for it to affect me so emotionally the way that it did. I feel like I'm going to end up rating this book like a 4.5 out of 5. It wasn't the perfect, like solid 5 stars for me. I am amazed by how much I ended up enjoying this book, you know, because as I said, the beginning definitely started not like insta-lovey, but almost like insta-lust for me. It was like these characters were just like immediately attracted to each other, really gravitated towards each other, and it was just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know, I hate when a romance starts with the characters just immediately being drawn to each other and being like, I'm never gonna let you go. But, I don't know, I think this book was done in a way where it really, even though it started with that insta-lust, it still really introduced the characters well, and it made me care about the characters pretty early on. I mean, I just love, you know, a good forbidden romance story, you know? I love how, you know, he's from this like small town, he's a really small town guy, and he's just really sweet, and how he's significantly younger than her, you know, he's 10 plus years younger than her, and I love how she's this doctor in a big city, and they just live such different lives. But I love when two people like that can just come together and find such, you know, similarities between themselves and like fall for each other in that way. I just think that's extra beautiful when it's something so unexpected because you thought you were so different. Also, just a random side note, this book had one of the most funny, like, random moments ever. Like, I laughed for like 5 minutes straight when I read this one line in a book, and that never happens for me, like, ever. When reading a book, like, I never actually laugh out loud because of a line in a book, but I laughed so hard when I read this one line. And if you're curious, it's on page 204, but I don't want to spoil like what exactly it is because I don't think it's a spoiler, but it's so freaking funny. Like, this main character just cracked me up. But also, I will warn you that I don't think I was expecting this book to get as heavy and as dark as it did. And, you know, even when I was looking through a lot of the reviews of this book, because this book has an insanely high average rating on Goodreads right now, which is understandable because this book is really good. But out of all the reviews I was looking through, I wasn't seeing anybody talking about how dark and depressing this book can get at times, because this book deals a lot with abuse, whether that's like physical or emotional abuse, and it's not necessarily between our two love interests. Like, the abuse doesn't happen between them, but it's really like a lot of abuse that's going on in her life, and that can be really, really tough to read about, you know. And it's also just really hard to read about her family's expectations of her, you know, because she's a doctor, she's carrying on, you know, her family's legacy, and her dad is just like the biggest asshole who just expects so much from her. And that's why I think it's especially so taboo that she's dating someone like him, you know, like that's like a lot younger than her, and that's like a small town boy who doesn't really know a lot about, like, you know, the medical city life. And so it's just really heartbreaking. I just felt like their situation felt so real. I just can't imagine having, like, being forced to choose between, you know, like, someone that you really love, like, the only person that makes you happy in this world, and then choosing between that and, like, your family's legacy and, like, making your parents happy and, like, being a doctor. And yeah, I just feel like the ending of this book really got to me because Daniel is such a freaking sweetheart. Like, he was just genuinely so cute. Like, everything about his character was so freaking cute. And I think the reason why the ending got to me is because, you know, oftentimes when you're reading romance, if you read a lot of romance, you know the formula, okay? Because usually, like, when you're getting done with the book, like in the last third of the book, there's always some kind of conflict that means, like, the couple can't be together, and, you know, it's always gonna happen. Like, that's just, like, the way it is. And usually, I always, like, roll my eyes by the time I get to that part of the romance book because it's just a minor inconvenience before the couple can, like, finally be together, and it's usually just some bullshit, like, miscommunication issue or whatever. But I feel like this third act of the book where, like, the couple felt like they couldn't be together, it just felt so real and so, like, genuine. Like, their concerns and everything going on in their lives really just mounted up to everything, and it was just like, wow, like, this feels really real. It's sad that it feels real, you know, because society is just like this and her family is just like this, and I don't know, I think it just really got to me at the end. It was just really beautiful. And I just adore Daniel's character so hard. Like, he's one of my favorite male love interests, again, that I've read in a while. I mean, I feel like this video has been such a success because I've read so many good romances in this video that I am just floored. But yeah, I mean, I have read every book by this author so far. I've read her 3 previous books, and I can confidently say this is her best book right here. Like, this one is fantastic. I think if you were ever planning to check out any books from this author, definitely let it be this one, because her other books have never really been my favorite, but I've always enjoyed her romance writing style, so I always knew I wanted to come back to her romances. But at least for me personally, for the last 3 books that I've read from her, I like the writing, but then I never really end up liking the characters or the plot that much of her last books. I feel like usually her books have been really frustrating for me in the past because of the way that she ends her books. And so yeah, I just wasn't expecting to love this as much as I did, but I'm so glad that I did, because wow, this book was amazing. And I also had so many amazing romance books throughout this vlog. I mean, with the exception of I Kissed Shara Wheeler, like, this was the only miss for me, and you know, I do think I am gonna DNF this for now. I might, if I do have more time at the end of this month, I might just try to finish listening to the rest of this on audio to see if it improves at all, but as of right now. But wow, I can't believe that I enjoyed pretty much every adult romance that I was picking up for this video. Like, when does that ever happen? I feel like May has just been a really incredible reading month for me so far, because my last vlog that I just posted was my Japanese thriller and horror vlog, and in that vlog I also enjoyed everything that I read. And now what the heck, like, in this vlog I have 4 new romance books that I am obsessed with and that I can recommend. Like, this is such a win. So yeah, wow, what an incredible reading vlog. What a great time. You'll have to let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these 4 books. Let me know what you think of them. Also, please do let me know if you have read I Kissed Shara Wheeler, if it gets any better, if it's worth finishing, if I'm not enjoying it this far into it. Yeah, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.